Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it, Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the Dragons Lane, in association with Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
Hello and welcome to the Dragons Lane podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar. I'm Jamie and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we, Gav? All good, I hope?
Well, yeah, I'm surviving. I discovered that a 50-year-old man playing against a university team isn't a great idea.
But you are retired though, yeah?
I'm fully retired, yeah. I have
You're
played
fully
2 full
retired.
matches now in 2 weeks.
Yeah, this retirement still isn't going well for you, Gav, at all, is it?
No, it's not worked
Okay.
out the way I planned.
No, it's definitely not. So we have another special guest for you this week by popular demand from our listeners. As a player, he played for clubs such as Newbridge, Pontypool and Newport. He won 3 caps for Wales and played for the Barbarians on 3 occasions. He coached the Dragons between 2005 and 2011 and has held coaching positions at clubs such as Sale, Bedford, Saracens, Gloucester, Harlequins and Wasps. He is currently head coach at English Championship team Ampthill, and he has recently returned to the Dragons as a consultant. He's a popular figure with many Dragon supporters. Welcome to the pod, Paul Turner. How are we doing, Paul?
Good, boys. You okay?
Very well. We're delighted that you're able to join us. We've had a lot of requests from our listeners asking, can you get Paul on? Can you get Paul on? So I'm delighted that you've joined us. You're very popular with supporters still, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks.
Not a problem at all. Right, let's start off then with a game on Sunday afternoon. So Dragons narrowly losing to the Lions 23-19. Now, Paul, you was there at Rodney Parade. I saw you there. You was just a couple of rows behind me, actually. You was there watching it. It was another spirited performance by the Dragons, but sadly, it was another missed opportunity, wasn't it? What was your take on that game on Sunday?
Oh, I thought there's like the games I've been down for and watched this season. I think there's a huge improvement. I think you could see that with players on the field at the end, you know, where everybody looks so disappointed. But look, we're in a league now, I think, that it's far different from when I was involved like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
With just the competition, I suppose, you know, you've got, 4 Super Rugby sides. You know, we actually played Transvaal today, you know, and like, we played Northern Transvaal on another week. We played Western Province on another week. And we played Natal Sharks last week. And you're in a league with like 2 very good Scottish sides, 4 Super Irish sides, and 2 very good Italian sides. This is a lot different from when I was involved, you know. And we actually, at that time, we punched above our weight. At that time, we used to beat the Munsters and the Leinsters on Friday nights down at the parade, and you know, the Scottish clubs we always used to beat on regular occasions, you know. So
yeah,
things have changed. So yeah, disappointment today, but a real improvement from this time last season. It's just getting over the line, really. That there were reasons. I thought we matched the Lions today. I think we matched them in most facets of the game, and it was nip and tuck right until the end. I think we took a point away from it, but there were occasions in the game where we could have probably gone on and won, similar to last week against Sharks. So yeah, look, I can see like physically today we weren't second best physically, and I thought probably we probably left a few points on the table, which probably ended with the result. So and same as last week. So I think there's just a great improvement at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tane Basham was excellent, wasn't he? In front of Warren Gatland, 2 tries. Can you see him getting back in the Wales squad, Paul?
Oh, certainly. I thought he was outstanding today, and
Yeah.
I think the pack played really well. I think, watched last night. I watched the Bulls put the Ospreys away down at the Liberty, and
Mhm.
their set piece last night, their line out, and their
Yeah.
both sides of the ball, and their scrum set piece, I thought was superb. And like these South African sides, at the end of the day, they're super rugby sides, and a lot of Springboks. I think the Lions, and again, great set piece, and we live with them today. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot to complain about. I thought our physicality and our carry, our scrum, I thought was okay. Our lineup was very good today, and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought we matched them in most facets of the play, and the game could have gone either way.
Yeah, I agree. Dave Flanagan's comments after the game was interesting. He said, "I'm disappointed with the result, but I'm probably more disappointed that the performance just didn't look like us. We didn't have the same energy or tempo today." Would you agree with that, Paul? What do you make of Dave's comments?
Oh, look, I'll speak to Di tomorrow, but I was, as you probably saw, I was up in the box
Mm.
with the board and watching the game, and I thought there was facets of our play, as I said. So our getting out of our own territory, I thought were really good today. I thought Angus O'Brien was superb in the backfield. And that's always good when you got someone at the back who's you're confident in and can get you going back forward, and
Yeah.
whether running or kicking. Look, I think it just came down to missed chances, really, and what would have normally happened. It's happened before, even in my time, near the end of the game, they had a line out near our line, and they'd have probably taken a bonus point away from us.
Yes.
And they didn't. They showed a bit of respect actually by kicking the ball off at the end rather than just slotting the 3.
Mm.
So look, it was something missed. It may be just part of a stage of our development at the moment. We've got to start winning, obviously. That's why we play the game, and
Of course, yeah.
I think we shouldn't get too down about it. We've got another chance next week, and against Treviso, and there's no easy games these days. So
It's a tough league, Paul, isn't it? There really are no
oh,
easy games in this league.
as I said earlier, it's
Yeah.
that's the way it is. I'm in a league at the moment with I'm in the championship with Ampthill, and you watch the Premiership. It's a tough league. There isn't a lot of jeopardy in the league, mind. So you
Yeah.
can keep on winning, or you can keep on getting beat. But like you've got to change something somewhere. And I think we've done. We've had a good summer. I think. Ironically, we probably won a game against the Ospreys, which we were on the point of losing, and the last 2 we probably lost, and the games we probably could have
Yeah.
won.
It's really ironic, isn't it? I think the biggest improvements I've seen from the Dragons this season, Paul, is our defence and our physicality. We look much stronger now. Our pack as well. We're really giving it to the opposition physicality. Physical. We are pretty matching them now, aren't we? I think that's one of the biggest differences I've noticed from last season, especially. Would you agree with that?
Well, to do that against South African sides, it will take some doing, and I thought
Yeah.
today we were more than a match. But as I said, the next stage has got to be like nicking those results at the end, or even, 20 minutes from the end. That's the way it's got to be. You see a lot of these sides like Leinster, they go away places and they win the game after 60 minutes. At the moment, we still trying obviously to win it near the end, and
Yeah.
that will happen. That will happen. But as I said earlier, I won't overstate it. But like there's a huge improvement in what I'm seeing at the moment.
Yeah, agree. And do you think these problems the Dragons have now, because there are some work-ons, do you think they're fixable? Are these fixable problems, Paul, that we can put right going forward?
I think so. I think I watch training. I'm down every week. I watch training, and it's very good. I think we're being well coached. I think. But coming the games, we're playing against quality opposition, as you said earlier on, and there's some games that get away from you, but they're not too far away.
No, no, I completely agree. Gav, what did you make of the game then today?
Yeah, well, I think Paul's captured a lot of my views, really, that improved physicality. And like you said, they're a big side, they're a South African side, but we didn't take any backward steps. And without
No.
wanting to turn the pod into a weekly love letter to Shane Lewis-Hughes, he had another great game, just getting under the skin of the opposition. It was just,
Yeah.
that was delightful to watch. But I think we just fronted up, and the breakdown was really good, and we weren't, we were winning collisions, which even early games in the season we weren't doing. I think we just lost our composure probably in the last 15 minutes, and that's where we lost the game, because it was still there on the plate for us. But
Yeah, we were in the game all the way through
yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely. And I think with a couple of missed kicks, one of which Will Reed's was kickable. I say that as somebody who's never kicked points in my life, but
It looked
yeah,
kickable.
it
Yeah,
looked
I know what you mean.
it
Yeah,
it looked kickable. And Lloyd's was harder, but
kickable.
still kickable. And yeah, you rue those opportunities, don't you? Those missed opportunities. But I was really impressed with the pack today.
Yeah.
And
No, I thought they were very good. I thought really well led. I thought Ben Carter was outstanding,
yeah,
and obviously Tane with their seven, the two sevens were the best players on the field.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They were definitely.
Different
But
kind of players though, weren't they? Like their seven
yeah,
was looking to be link playing, where Tane was just smashing into everything.
Yeah, he
absolutely.
looked he looked reborn, didn't he? He looked a man with a mission actually at times.
He really did. And I thought when he was close to the line in the second half, and we were probably about 10 yards away, and I thought, oh, I don't think they'll be able to stop him from there. But because he just did look unstoppable at times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really impressed with Ben Carter, and I thought it was a really clever move by Di to give him the captaincy, because I don't know about you, Paul. He seems to have come out of his shell a little bit more. I've been really impressed by Ben Carter. Do you think now this is his opportunity to really push on and make himself a regular in our Wales squad?
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about Ben, to be honest, because he's obviously out of my era, and he's a young
Mm.
kid that's just come through, and he's got capped before I ever really got involved last year. But like his all-round game is just very good. Defensively carried a lot, and his line out is top notch. I thought Brody did really well. I thought some of
Yes.
Brody's play today. Um, Obviously he's a local boy like Ben, just come to the fore, and you can
Yeah.
just sense everybody wants Brody to do well at the moment. So
Mm.
like some of Brody's throwing was very good today, which obviously went a lot to Ben. And they were difficult throws, they
Yeah.
threw a lot to middle and back a lot.
Yeah.
So against a very good sort of Lions line out as well.
Yeah, we spoke on this pod. We think Brody's a bolter for the Wales squad in the autumn, because he's really stepped up in the absence of Elliot D, and he's getting week in, week out rugby, unlike some of the other hookers in Wales. So I think he's got a good chance, hasn't he, Paul,
But
to
that's what we
get in the
want,
squad?
isn't it? That's what we
Yeah,
want guys to, Warren was there today, and John Humphreys. So you never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's been the best Welsh hooker this season so far.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
He's played every game. He's played solidly. Today there was a couple of times we had a few rolling mauls, and clearly I had a different view because I was watching on TV rather than yourself, and it was more the other side of the stadium to your seat, Jamie, and he was really controlling that rolling maul, and I think he was unlucky not to score from that one that Tane eventually did score from, but for a young lad, he's got a lot of nous about him.
Oh, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Yeah, like he's diligent and he wants to do well. You can tell that every time I see him in Ystrad Mynach. He's always you can see the need and the want is there.
Yeah, Di reckons he's quite feisty in training, apparently, which is good, isn't it? That's what you want to hear.
He's had to be when he's challenging. So
yeah.
But yeah, I met him when I first went down, and like he always comes up and talks, and he's a good kid. He knows what he wants, and he's trying his best.
Yeah, good stuff. I love to see him getting called up for Wales. I really would. Okay, let's talk about you now then, Paul. We ask all our guests who appear on the pod just to talk about themselves, their background, how they got into their game. So let's talk about your rugby journey. How and where did it all start for you growing up? How did you get into the game?
I'm a Western Valley boy. I'm a Newbridge boy. Although in the days where you were either born at home or you were born in the Caldera down at the Celtic Manor, weren't you? I was a Caldera boy. I was born in Newport, actually. But then lived in Newbridge, my family in the mining community, and grew up, went to grammar school, didn't do very good in school. I was a soccer player, so I played all my football. I played in Understee, actually. Understee were the places I used to play with. I was Cumcan Athletic. They were my side. Di Elsley's boys from Feeder Row in Cumcan. We used to play like under 10s, 11s, 12s. But I suppose I played football till I was 16, but the key to it all really was I watched Newbridge I was a ball boy, I think, I was 6 or 7 during the 60s, and my dad used to take me down, and I used to be a ball boy with a couple of lads. And I suppose I always think about it. I grew up understanding rugby from that age. I kept on playing soccer, and then I played rugby in grammar school. I went to Newbridge Grammar School. I remember my coach in grammar school, my PE teacher was a guy called Chris Padfield. And my first year, my under-11s, my coach was Jeff Squire, who played for Wales via Newport and Pontypool and became a British Lion. So I can always remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, it was an era of first class and second class sides. Rugby was fervent in the valleys. All the way from Ebervale to Abertillery to Newbridge to Crosskeys to Newport to Pontypool. It was great times for us kids. We were all Monmouthshire blue. We wanted to play for our club, or we wanted to play first class or second class. And we wanted to play for Monmouthshire. Never ever thought to play for Wales, but that was the real goal, the pot of gold that you never ever thought you'd get.
No.
So yeah, I started with I think when I was 17, I was Newbridge. I was Newbridge Youth. I went to Crumlin, which was my very first side, and I had a great time there for 2 years. And then I think I played briefly over at Pontypool from Crumlin, and then I settled at my home club, which was Newbridge, and that's where it all started really, and had some great years there. Ended. I saw my first spell at Newbridge. I was captain in I think 83, 84. But I captained a lot of my heroes that were, your Dennis Hughes, your
Yeah.
Tony Brownings from years before, Clive Davis and Paul Evans, who was there as well. I ended up captain there, and that was my first spell in Newbridge. Left to go to Newport at the time, and Charlie Faulkner and Spike Watkins, a great friend of
Yeah.
mine, who spent the time there. And then I think I ended going to London. I think I went to London Welsh briefly, then came back to Newbridge. Unfortunately, got capped in '89, and then spent a bit of time back in Newport. And '92, I left, and I've been in England ever since, really, with Sale and then Bedford, and
Yeah.
then I retired and been coaching ever since. So yeah, that was my playing career, really.
So I was lucky enough to see you play on a number of occasions, Paul, for both Newbridge and for Newport. And my dad, who was a Tredegar player and a tight head, so didn't really understand the backs a huge amount, but would always say, he would say, well, you know, if Turner was West Whaley, he'd have had about 20 caps.
Yeah. I look back at it, and I certainly wasn't consistent enough. Probably. I got in the Welsh squad, I think, in 1982, and Gareth Davis was the incumbent player then, and I wasn't consistent enough. My club was what it was all about at that time. And Newbridge, actually, we were one of the top clubs around that time, and we could never actually get to the Schweppes finals. It was then.
Yeah.
Partly, probably because of me at times, but ironically, I joined Newport in the '85 season, I think, and we got to the cup final against Cardiff at the Arms Park then. Yeah, look, it sort of worked for me, really, with all the changing around. And I came back from London in '88, I think it was, and fortunately for me, I think Jonathan Davis had captained Wales against Romania, and we got beat. And I got called into the squad that year, and that's the year I only had 1 year involvement, but that was the year I got capped, and it was unthinkable, really, that was going to happen. And it was great that I got capped for my home club, really, which was Newbridge. And so, yeah, that was obviously at the time, to get capped at number 10 for Wales was a big thing.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, they were great times, really.
And who were your role models growing up then, Paul? Any particular players when you were younger that you really looked up to and maybe modeled your game on?
Yeah, look, coming through, there were obvious names, when you always used to try and model yourself on being Barry John or being Di Watkins or being Phil Bennett. I can always remember Phil Bennett phoned me up once and said, "When do you come down to Llanelli?" And I thought somebody was just joking. It was just him. I worked for the same company as him at the time. It was real. I suppose in my area, another Newbridge boy, a guy called Keith James, was a guy that I always admired as a player. He had so many things to his game. He was like Newport and at the time, and then Cardiff. I got to know him sort of later in my rugby life as well. And he was he was a classy player who could kick with both feet. And he had a real point of difference with his game. He's probably left Newport and went to Cardiff at one stage of his career to try and follow Barry John, and never actually got capped. But Jamesy was a real talent, running, kicking threat, drop goals from everywhere. You wouldn't mind me saying, but he won a very good goal kicker. But the rest of his game was like top notch, and he came from Newbridge as well. But so he was one that I sort of modeled myself on a little bit early career.
Okay. And you came up against a lot of hard men back in those days, Paul. It was quite uncompromising, wasn't it? Who was the toughest opponent you ever faced on a rugby field?
Oh, I didn't feel, there was guys like locally that you always played, like early in my career when I was a kid, I suppose, at 19, 20, 21. I came up against guys like Terry Cobner,
Mm,
Clive Burgess,
yeah.
all from our valley,
Yeah.
Mm,
most of our valley, like Roger Powell, those sort of guys. But I suppose it was time in that era, I suppose, where everybody in Wales had an open side that was really good. If you went to Cardiff, you'd find, I don't know, Stuart Lane. If you went to Swansea, you have Gareth Roberts. If you went to Neath, like you'd have Lynn Jones. And they were only following their predecessors who were very good sevens. Everybody had a good seven in the valleys. Um, Wales weren't short of sevens at that time for sure.
no, still not now, really. Such a
No, I
competitive
suppose,
position.
yeah, I suppose. But with the rule change, and I suppose the law changes over the last sort of 2, 3, maybe 4 decades, the laws have changed regarding sevens now. Like years ago, there was no 10-meter law in the line out, for instance, so
Mm,
sevens were, you can tell looking back at it why Di Watkins was so sharp, he had to be.
yeah.
There was no 10-meter law,
Mm,
where sevens had to stand 10 meters away from you. They were virtually on you everything. There was no scrum back foot law either. So, you had to be on your mettle to avoid the worst thing that could happen to you, really.
yeah.
It's nice to hear you talking so positively about Dowie Watkins as well, who I think we forget about, because we had the Barry John, Phil Bennett era, we forget about how good a player Dowie Watkins was.
Yeah, look, they were guys that I grew up to know and try and emulate, and they were all very special players. And but the game changed,
Yeah.
you like tens years ago didn't have to make a tackle. You'd drift behind your back line because if you got anywhere near the ball, you get killed, really. So
Mm,
like Barry John, Jamesy, you go through it. Like I suppose the game changed when you started, the law changed, and tens had to go up on their opposite man all the time and go up on whoever they were marking. I always use like we played up in Bedford one year when I was at Bedford, we played a South African side and they had this fly half called Bram van Straten, who was a Springbok eventually, but he played with headgear on.
Yeah, I
I
remember him.
said, like Mikey Ray, my best friend, who was playing with me at the time, I said the game changed the day Bram van Straten put his helmet on. It was like, and that meant he's going to come and get you, or he's going to go and tackle a back row forward. Like back in the day, we only had to make tackles if we had to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not in. That includes Barry John and everybody
mm.
really. Benny, you didn't go near anything around if you didn't really have to.
No,
Well,
I don't think they'll be known for their defense, will they?
no.
Barry
No,
John and Phil
nobody.
Bennett,
I certainly wasn't, but the game changed when the game went
Yeah.
professional. When defense coaches became involved, it was like
Yeah.
you got to lead the lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
My son plays 10, and like we today at coaching, it was all about make sure the tackles are right, make sure you're
keep
bringing
out
the
of the way.
defense up with you.
We had to keep out of the way back in the day.
Yeah, well,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
you get in real trouble.
great stuff. Okay, let's move on now to some listeners' questions. You've had quite a few. Thank you to everyone who submitted their questions. Um, this question, quite a few people asked about this. So last season, Paul, you returned to Rodney Parade as a consultant for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Can you just explain exactly what your role entails, being a consultant to the Dragons?
Oh, look, it was when they approached me. I felt really good about it because historically I left controversially, didn't I? In I think 2011.
Mm,
I had a problem with the union over one of my players, and then look, the board didn't. I was in the right, I felt, and still do. And my board at the time didn't back me. I didn't help myself actually. Like I think about a week or two later, when I threatened a news reporter, and
Andy Howell, wasn't there? You threatened to knock him out.
the rest, as they say, is history. It probably wasn't the right thing to do, but
Or you've gone up in a lot of supporters when you did that. To be honest, you got yourself cult status wanting to knock Andy Howell out.
Yeah.
look, he's a local boy, isn't he? And like,
Yes, yeah.
spoken to him quite a few times since. It wasn't a good time, to be honest. But like, looking back at it, it was probably time for me to go at that time anyway. I'd had 5 or 6 years, and it wasn't going to improve, to be honest with you, after I left, and it didn't for quite a time.
No, it didn't.
No,
I don't think it's ever go back to where it was, to be honest, Paul. But
well, it's starting to. I think you've got
Yeah.
you've got new owners now. You've got a new board and a new ground, obviously. So there's definite signs of things have changed. So when they approached me last year to do some work, I was chuffed, to be honest with you. I thought, because this, Monmouthshire is me. It's what made me, and I thought it was really good. So I came back. So my role really is to assist Di really on sort of off the field stuff. I'm doing some pathway recruitment with the academy, because I feel that that's really where we need to improve. And through my work with, my work with the Welsh exiles, with scouting players in England, plus stuff that I know around the region. I'm involved with that. And obviously supporting the pathway to get us better at that level.
And do you ever advise Di? Sorry, Paul. Do you ever give advice to Di as well? About certain players? Give from a coaching point of view, do you try and assist him, because he is a young coach just learning on the job, isn't he? Do you ever offer that sort of coaching advice to him?
Yeah, well, it's recruitment these days isn't about now. It's about the last sort of year, really, because recruitment for your following season starts around about November, December. So all that's been done. Yeah, like I helped Di with some of the current players that are there now, and it's ongoing. So they'll start again pretty soon. So yeah, I speak to Di about that quite regular. But there came a time, virtually at the end of last season, where we'd finished our recruitment. So it's a little bit difficult, because I'm doing some recruitment with my club as well. So I'm probably talking to the same agents that for different players. So that was quite interesting, and it didn't become difficult, but my club exactly the same. We're recruiting but probably not the same quality of player.
You punch above your weight, though, Ampthill, don't you? Because you're a little village club.
Yeah,
you're competing with big club. Bedford just up the road from you. You're competing with them.
Well, we got Ealing next Saturday, which will be really tough for us.
Yeah.
But we've come through the leagues doing that, to be honest with you guys. We came through the leagues beating the likes of Moseley and Coventry, and the south of England clubs like, I suppose, Plymouth, and you get over to Bristol and Clifton. A lot of these clubs, by the way, all of a sudden they're being supported by some of the major clubs in the area, like Bath, Bristol, and Exeter. So the whole scenery has changed, I suppose, in junior clubs these days. My club have come through the leagues. I'm in my 14th season there. After I left the Dragons, I had like 1 year at Wasps, but I've been in Ampthill for 14 seasons, and we've gone through like 3 or 4 divisions, and we've had 4 years in the championship now, and we are playing, sides in the championship, I suppose, that have been there a long time. Like you said, Bedford, Cornish Pirates, Coventry,
Yeah,
Doncaster.
well established clubs, aren't they?
Well, and they're all, most of them are full time. We only part
Yeah.
time. We do Tuesday and Thursday evenings.
Mm.
So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but one I've enjoyed. But going back to the dragon stuff, it's about Monmouthshire for me, and I'm always big on that. Is trying to make a difference, I suppose, coming back, and I've had some good, what we're like, boys. Like we're very sort of tribal in a lot of our behaviours down in the valleys,
Absolutely, yeah.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
I've had some great mess. I've even had one today that somebody must have. I haven't seen it, but I must have been on the telly at some stage saying,
You
"Great
were, yeah.
back," So
Yeah, they picked you out and they said, "Oh, former Dragons coach Paul Turner."
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm about regular. I'm about regular, but and it's a lot of traveling, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet.
look, I can see a huge difference since the time I was there. It's for the good, there's plenty of ambition and intent around. Got a training base, which we never had when I was there. Um, and it's a very sort of supportive board that
Which you didn't have.
well, that's another story, isn't it? But it was a long
Yeah.
time ago. It was a long time ago, and
Mm.
yeah, things have changed, and we own our ground as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's a game changer, isn't it, for the Dragons?
It
That leads
all
us on nicely to our next question because Dan Hallett, who's been on our pod, he's the chairman of the Dragon Supporters Club. He asks, how does Paul assess the changes that have happened at the Dragons since his time as head coach? So there's been a lot of changes, Paul. Some of them good, some of them not so good.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few of them there already, but how have you seen the changes since from when you've left to returning?
Oh, it's got to be a plus, really. It's yeah, I can remember. I always tell this story. I remember I lived in St Albans at the time in London. I used to travel down, and it was great. I used to, as you boys know, if you're in the car a lot these days, you can really gather your thoughts on. That's the one good. There's a lot of bad thing about travel, but there's good things you can usually gather
Yeah.
your thoughts. So I usually did.
Mm.
I knew I could sort a lot of things out because I'd been away actually. So I came back, didn't I, in 2005. But I'd been away since '92, and I'd been to a lot of clubs, and I was living in London. I travelled down, and you travel down. I can always remember I used to get to Bath, on the top of the hill in Bath, and traveling down. And as I'm coming down, I'm thinking, I know what I'm going to do this week now. I know how to sort a couple of things out.
Yeah.
Just as I reach, you'll know what I mean now. Just as you
Yeah.
reach, you can see the Severn Bridge in the distance, and just as you were getting towards the Severn Bridge, you could see a big black cloud over the whole of the valley.
Mm.
I looked at it and I thought, that's the cloud I'm going to be driving into. And when I got into the cloud, there was a few things that I just couldn't sort out. I thought I could, but like there was a few things within my, and it's probably Wales, but it was in my valley at that time, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, I thought I could sort that. And you get in there and you just couldn't sort it out. It was like it was that time.
Yeah.
So that was really about it at the time. I think, looking from the outside in, always a result, what's happening at the Dragons, what's happening at Newbridge, what's happening at Newport, what's happening at Evervale, what's happening at Pontypool. I've done that over these years.
Mm.
And I think, it's taken a long time, but I think we're coming through it. I think we've sorted quite a few things out.
Yeah.
The emergence of a new board is obviously helps. Owning your own ground, you only got to look around the Premiership in England to see the guys that didn't own their own ground and what trouble they got in. There's 3 clubs that went out of existence because they didn't own their own ground, and so you've got to own your own house or your own ground, and to have a training facility was something, as I said earlier on, we never had. So
no, that's right.
They're the first 3 things that is a given for all these professional sides now. So that's immediately the difference I saw, and I just sense a lot of intent and a lot of ambition around. You can taste that every time you walk in Rodney Parade these days.
Yeah.
Probably the best marketing department in Wales for sure, as well. And you could just sense things are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gav gets in touch. This is quite an interesting question, actually. Gav's been on our pod. He's a friend of the pod. Paul was in charge the last time we beat all 4 Irish teams in the same season. A great achievement, he says. How did he get so much out of the team with so little off-field backing? Now, I think this is a really good question, Paul, because we were the least funded Welsh region. We didn't have a lot of money. You said yourself about the facilities. We've had former Dragons players on the pod who said they didn't know where they were training from one day to the next. And yet, you got a tune out of that squad and you made them competitive. And we were beating the top sides. We're probably more competitive then than we have been in recent years. How did you manage it, Paul, to get so much out of so little?
It must have been down to the playing side, I really think, at that time. I think we were always unfancied, that's for sure. Nobody really rated us. I think we started winning in Ulster. I think that was the first thing. We started winning in Belfast, which was unthinkable at the time because they had come from being European champions to, I think they won the league one year.
We did.
And then we started winning there. I think we'd always give Leinster and Munster a hard time on a Friday night, and Connacht was always a given at home. They were grounds that they were very difficult to win away. So it must have been the season we'd beaten Connacht, and we beat a very good Munster side. I think Fozzie was captain that year. I think we beat a very good Munster side.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said earlier on, all those. We beat a Munster side with your Garas, your Stringers, your Anthony Foleys. I think the things that changed for me with all those sides over there, like especially sides like Ulster, and to a certain extent now with Connacht, their budgets changed dramatically. Like over a season or two, as the Scottish budgets have changed dramatically, or Glasgow's a place we used to go to and win on Friday nights up there, and I think was it Falkirk or Partick Thistle or
it was. Yeah, they used to play the football ground, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Edinburgh,
it was Fir Park, wasn't it? Partick
we
Thistle's
used to
ground.
win up there, and look, they were punching above your weight stories because budget-wise, we were still probably nowhere near the Irish clubs, maybe the Scottish, but I thought it was a playing thing. I think at that time we had some real good players.
Yeah.
I think guys at that time, Luke Charteris, Chav had a couple of seasons with us, didn't he? And I thought Colin Jarvis was outstanding the years he was with us.
Yeah.
We had quite a few Welsh internationals with us at that time. So yeah, they were really good times. They probably weren't sustainable because everybody kept on season by season getting better.
Yeah.
We had a couple of seasons, didn't we, where say Cardiff had like 4 or 5 like retired All Blacks playing for them. Scarlet's similar. Ospreys had Philo, Justin Marshall, and all that, and we had to try and match that. We didn't quite have the finance to do that, but
no.
I think I brought Tommy Willis in one year, the ex All Black, and he brought him in as captain.
I remember that. from the
And
other Canes, wasn't it?
yeah, so we tried our best, but I don't think I can answer the question, but we certainly punched above our weight during that era.
I think people give you more respect now, though, Paul, when they look back. Maybe not at the time, but I think people look back now and they can see how competitive we were with so little. And when we look at results of the Dragons nowadays, we kind of think, well, why can't we be as competitive now as we were then? I definitely think you have gone up in a lot of people's estimations for what you achieved with so little. I mean, imagine if you did have a healthy budget of around 6, 7 million, the things you could have achieved. It must be frustrating to know that, isn't it?
Yeah, look,
Proud of what you achieved, but
a little
frustrating.
bit, Jamie, but like even at the time, I had good coaches as well. I had, Lee
Yeah,
Jones was great for me at that time. He's my forwards coach, and Danny Wilson came in as well after Lee.
yeah,
Early on, I had Rees and Gareth Baber was with me for a time. So look, the coaching was we had to get the best out of what we had at the time.
yeah.
And there were going to be downs, like at that time, I can remember we went to Biarritz and took a tune in, didn't we? And then we came home and we wanted Biarritz on a Friday night. I remember seeing Serge Blanco out of my corner of my eye and
Mm.
on a frosty Friday night in Newport, and we were ready for them. And the game was called off, and we had to go to the Parky Scarlets the following
Oh,
day
that's right.
with
I
about
remember.
60 people. So,
Yeah, there was no one there, was there? I remember that.
no, and
Yeah,
look, Biarritz at that time were top in Europe.
yeah.
Where are they
Yeah,
now? They're second, third division, aren't they? So,
yeah,
Mm.
second tier. Yeah.
Cody do, yeah,
so they were great times. I think the one year we got to the semis of the Challenge Cup. I
yeah.
suppose times changed because when I joined the Dragons, like Challenge Cup was unheard of, really. You didn't want to be in there, but
No,
it became one of the major competitions, for a lot of
Yeah.
clubs at that time. Gloucester went on and won it the other year. You'd have thought it was the European Cup, but it was only the Challenge. But the Challenge Cup was big as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, we had a question from Paul, and he's asking about the Welsh Excels program that you was involved with. He says you were heavily involved in the Welsh Excels program. How did you go about identifying Welsh talent, and what exactly is the process involved?
Um, yeah, they got me involved. I think in about 2016. It's something that sort of finished really in when COVID happened, I suppose, and that's something that I've sort of grabbed onto now with my role with the Dragons. Because it's the same knowledge is there, obviously.
Yeah,
It's just about identifying Welsh born or Welsh um, grandparents, kids with Welsh grandparents around England, really, or the world, I suppose. And there's some that we've got, and there's some that have been to the Dragons eventually now. And sometimes you don't get them as early as you want because
no,
they play for England, and some do, and some don't. So we've had, there's guys with the Dragons now that we got into the system a couple of years back
yeah.
via clubs in England. I'm trying to think who in the Dragons now, but you've
was
had,
George not one of those? Because
yeah,
he's Welsh qualified, isn't he?
George Knox one year. The
Yep.
England, I think the England 2016 World Cup side in under 20s in Manchester. What names can I think of? Nick Tompkins, Max Clark,
Tompkins, yeah, yeah.
Sean
Very familiar
Lonsdale,
names.
George Knott,
Yeah,
Hugh Taylor. They're all guys that
mm,
eventually came to Wales. You didn't get them initially, but they
no,
were all guys with Welsh backgrounds that came into Wales. And look, it's just the same as it is now. You can go to like tournaments. Like I went to one in Malvern the other week, the England 18s group, and you watch Bristol and Bath play there, and like most of them are Welsh. You watch
yeah,
Gloucester play at 18 group. Everybody seems to be Welsh. You watch Exeter these days, and there's a lot
mm,
of Welsh kids that and we've got to try and stop that, by the way. And
yeah. We have.
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult to do at the moment
Mm,
because of the success of those clubs. Um, But yeah, that's from where I'm situated now. I suppose it's even better. I'm in the middle of like what is a Gloucester region now, but it used to be a Gloucester Worcester region.
Mm.
We're talking the Midlands, we're talking Birmingham, Warwickshire, Shrewsbury, down to Oxford. You know, that's a region that Gloucester are looking after now because of the demise of the other two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I suppose years ago it wouldn't have happened, would it? We used to keep our
No.
players. A lot of Welsh boys didn't want to go anywhere, but now the universities, there's Loughborough, there's
Yeah.
Exeter, there's
Hartpury and all
Berkeley
that, isn't it?
College,
Yeah.
and there's loads where these boys go to. So that's, I suppose, part of my role.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I go and I don't need to know who's there. I just go and see if there's anybody good at rugby, and then I'll find out whether they
Are
got
they Welsh?
it. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question, but
No, you have, Paul. Yeah. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Right. This next question, Gav, you're going to roll your eyes because we
If
always
it's about
get.
the Anglo-Welsh League, or if it's about kicking, yeah, I'm going to roll my eyes.
Every time we have a big name guest on, somebody guaranteed, and quite a few people have asked about this. We always get this question on the pod. So, Paul, Anglo-Welsh League. There's been rumours for years. Sorry, Gav. I know this question drives you nuts, but there's been a lot of rumours in the press lately, Paul, as you know, about merging the Premiership with URC to create an Anglo-Welsh conference. And there's been reports that the Premiership Rugby have talked about proposals about creating an Anglo-Welsh League. Paul, are you in favour of an Anglo-Welsh League? What's your thoughts on it? Do Wales need more Anglo-Welsh fixtures? Does Welsh Rugby need more Anglo-Welsh? What's your thoughts on it?
huge, yeah, yeah, definitely.
You think so? Yeah.
Definitely, but look, I grew up in it, didn't I? You know, all our best
Yeah.
fixtures in Newbridge or Newport was Bristol, Bath, and Gloucester. Like
Yeah.
Exeter at the time, I think we put 60 points on Exeter one season with Newbridge, but they were like a second or third division side. The answer is yes. Yeah, we need it. In fact, at this moment in time, like the RFU have got huge problems with their 10 clubs who they're going to give a lot more money to, and they're going to defund or underfund the championship clubs, which everybody's up in arms about at the moment. So
Yeah.
I can see um, something happening in the next year, I would have thought.
Mm.
And I don't know who it would be, you know, whether it would be like an Anglo-Welsh Cup, which I know they did try, didn't they, back?
We had that, yeah.
Yeah, and what clubs would be involved. I suppose the difference would be in the game is regional since 2005 now. So would it be the clubs, the new league clubs in the first division? Who would they play against? Would it be the championship clubs in England? I think that's something that the championship clubs certainly would look at in England. But then you're missing the big clubs, aren't you? You're missing the Gloucesters, the Baths, the Bristols, who,
Mm.
by rights, you know, our clubs used to play. You know, because I suppose they all think they've got a big product with Premier Rugby in England. The difficulty they've got, Premier clubs in England, is that when they go into Europe at the moment, like it's pretty tough for them because
Yeah.
of the French clubs who are probably working on a budget of twice, three times some of those English clubs, you know, and the other thing obviously is how much the 10 clubs in England are in debt.
Yeah.
And
Do you
that's
think there'll be changes then, Paul? You can see changes down the line.
there's got to be some form of change, you know, at all levels at the moment, because it's not sustainable in England
No.
with the debt that the clubs are in. They lost three clubs, and there's rumours there's another couple that are in trouble.
Mm.
So something's got to happen, and I don't know what it is. I suppose in a way, all I look at the moment is my club.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, Paul. All clubs in England have received an email from the RFU asking if they're intending to apply for Tier 2. My club that plays a Tier 12, I think we might not be applying, but Is that something your ambition for Ampthill to play in the new Tier 2?
Well, yeah, most definitely. But
Yeah.
as you say, a lot of clubs are. There's 3 clubs that have been that have gone to the wall that have been asked as well, and I'm not sure that's right. You
No.
know, who owe a lot of money. You know, so
Oh, two
but
of them
next,
owned by the same man as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, look, our division at the moment is 12.
Mm.
Um, there's talk of non-relegation and 1 club coming up, and that club could be anybody like, I don't know, there's Rams, there's what side's the top of that league at the moment?
Division 2, or no, Division 1.
Division One,
Yeah, I'm trying to
National
think
One,
who's
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, there's some good clubs there that could come up. So that'd be number 13. There's no relegation, that'd be number 13, and then there's 1 club left, isn't there? Unless you go to a league of 16. Now, how those 3 clubs are going to come back in, I don't know. You know, I wouldn't know.
Well, Wasps don't even have a ground yet, do they? I know they're talking about situating in Kent, just up the
Yeah,
road from me, but
yeah.
they haven't got a ground yet. I'm not quite
They've
sure
got a
how that
ground and they've
works.
got a lot of debt, and
Yeah.
that's the main thing here, really. And you know, clubs like London Welsh and Richmond had to go to the bottom of the leagues
Mm.
when they had all that debt.
I play all the way up, yeah.
Went all the way up, you know. So I don't know how it's really changed. They're saying it's because they got a good brand, but like I don't know. I suppose I'm concerned with my club have got no debt at all, you know, and you know we survive on crowds and you know someone who a benefactor really like, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of clubs in
Yeah.
the division do that as well. But you know we've had since COVID we went into the division and we had you know 500,000 600,000 from the funds from the union to run our business help,
Yeah.
and that was deducted to 130 grand over the last 4 years. So we've lost so much money.
Mm.
And actually it will drive your benefactors away.
Yeah.
So look, what's happening at the moment is probably a lot of conjecture, and with the RFU, they're not coming to the table at the moment. So Anglo-Welsh could be something in the foreseeable future.
We shall wait and see. Only a couple more questions left, Paul. I'm conscious of time. You kept you for a long time. I do apologize.
No problem.
Graham gets in touch. He says, you played alongside some colourful characters in your playing days in Newport, especially in the pack. Do you have any stories you can share about that time? Any family-friendly stories you can share about the
Well,
people
look,
you play with?
it used to be what goes on tour stays on tour,
Yeah.
isn't it? Um, yeah, look, Newport at the time when I joined, like Roger Powell, Spike,
Mm.
Charlie was in charge. Um, yeah, the boys used to drink sherry. They used to have a glass of sherry before the games. I think that was the one
Those are the days.
that I couldn't believe when I saw it. But
Yeah.
and then when I saw it, I can remember playing against Roger a couple of times after, and I thought he's had more than one glass of sherry for the game, you know. But yeah, there's now we had some great tours at that time, you know, it was
Yeah.
usually Cyprus or Spain, and we had some great times. Like Charlie Faulkner was a great bloke.
Mm.
A lot of people misunderstood him, but like
Yeah.
I got him straight away, and he was a great friend. Um,
Yeah.
Spike was great as well, great leader. Um, and yeah, look, they were great times. Newbridge were good as well. We had some
Mm.
like touring was a thing of the past, wasn't it? You know, it was
Yeah.
you know it was something that we probably couldn't do these days. The way the drinking and that went on then, you know. So yeah, look, there was some real colourful characters at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Aaron gets in touch. He says, best player you ever coached at the Dragons.
Um, Well, some of the players who were good, like you didn't have to coach really. Guys like Jarvis came and he did his own thing. Jarvis was
Yeah, he was so
like
good
I
for us,
had him
wasn't
right at the end. He was injured. Jarvis was all where he used to get over the ball at that time. He just used to get assaulted all the time, and
he? Yeah.
I wouldn't have done anything with Colin Jarvis regard coaching. But I suppose guys who were very good players, guys like I thought Sweeney was a very good player. He grew up actually. Kerry Sweeney he wasn't a kicker because he never really kicked in school. He was told not to kick in school, and then he came to us, and played for his country. And I thought he was a great distributor, decision maker. The one thing that and a goal kicker as well. The one thing he probably lacked, was kicking at the time, and I mean, positional kicking and all that. But Kerry would play in today's game quite easily. Kevin Morgan, another one. Gareth Wyatt, those guys that I had in the Dragons. Jason Foster, I thought, I played with Jason when he joined us from Bedford. And when I joined the Dragons, Jason was captain. I thought Jason was a remarkable player. Luke Charteris, Rhys Thomas, all those guys at the time were great value.
In terms of looking back on what you did, Paul, what's the proudest moment in terms of rugby? You've had a long career. You've been a player. You've been a coach. What's the thing you're most proud of?
I suppose playing for my country would have been the main one. I never expected to, but I must have hit some good form at some time in my career. And it was that season, I think, in '89. And I fortunately got on the field as a replacement, and then got a couple of caps starting, albeit in Paris, and then my final cap was against England at Cardiff, and I didn't play again after that. I didn't get dropped, but I didn't play again, because the following season started and I wasn't involved then.
Yeah.
But they had to be the playing, representing my club, Newbridge, and it was always as a kid I was always told you can't go down there down to the townies. But actually, when I finally went down there, I quite enjoyed playing for Newport. It was a big club, which is why we didn't like them from where I came from, But playing for Newport was something that I was proud of, because it was a club I always used to go and watch as a kid as well. Back in the days of Barbarians, London Welsh on Saturdays, I used to always go down and watch Newport. And then playing for the Barbarians as well, via Newbridge, and Newport was very good for me. So yeah, they were good. They were great playing times. The enjoyment, I suppose, of playing at that time, it was a different era to the way it is now. And then coaching, really, I started with Newport, and I've been in England now for 32 years altogether, albeit the 5 years back at the Dragons at that time. But I've been to some places in England, and I've got some great friends around England. Whether it's London or up north in Manchester with my time at Sale.
Yeah.
And Gloucester. I've spent a bit of time at Gloucester as well. So yeah, I suppose rugby will always be about who you meet and about the company you keep. So that's been a real big thing. And it's great to come back home now, actually. And I've been to a few clubs like Ebbw Vale and Pontypool and Newport in my time back, and seeing people that I met years ago. So that's a good thing as well.
You're saying about Ampthill, so you can't quite see this, but this is my proudest rugby possession. This is an Ampthill tie that I got playing against a vets team from your club who toured down with us about 12, 13 years ago. And whenever I wear it, it's Paul Turner's club. always make a point of saying
Yeah,
that.
it's strange, really. Ampthill was somewhere where I saw years ago, and Ampthill always had the biggest junior section in the East Midlands, still has. And I never thought at that time that I'd be spending sort of 14 years of my life there, you know. So, yeah.
Brilliant. I'm conscious we kept you for a very long time. I do apologize for that, Paul. Just want to thank you so much for joining us. It's much appreciated. Best of luck with Ampthill and Dragons for the rest of the season.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. It means a lot. It's good to be back trying to support Monmouthshire, really, which is the Dragons.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate it hugely.
Okay, so there you go. That was Paul Turner. Great coach and a great bloke, Gav, wasn't he?
Yeah, I really had to control my inner fanboy because he was one of my heroes when I was a kid.
Oh, I bet.
Him and Mark Ring, I loved because my dad was a forward. I wanted to be a back, and there was two blokes from my valley who were just great creative players. Oh God, which is why I'm really proud of this tie, because whenever I wear it was Paul Turner's club. People don't know who he is, but I know who he is.
Yeah. And like I said to him, I think people now, a lot of supporters recognise the good work he did at the club at that time to make us competitive when we had so little. We didn't have a pot to piss in. We had the lowest budget. We had poor facilities, players not knowing where to train from one week to the next. I think we look back now and we think, actually, he did a really good job because we still beat top sides, even with very little.
He's a really good coach. I think for people who don't know Ampthill is a village just south of Bedford. It's like, well, it's a small village. It's nice, it's well to do, but it's a small village. And they've got what can only be described as one of the oldest looking kind of pitches you'll ever see in the world. The players come down literally from a shed down a path through a gate to get onto the ground. But they're competing with clubs like Ealing, who've got a playing budget bigger than ours.
Yeah.
And they're part-time.
Yeah, you say he's a good coach, and all the very best for him. Pleased we were able to get him on the pod. A lot of listeners have been asking us, can you get Paul on the pod? Because they want to know what he's been doing at the Dragons, and he is very popular with support. So I'm glad we're able to do that. And we got more big name guests coming up as well. That's the exciting thing. But yeah, thank you very much to Paul. Okay, bit of news then before we move on. Steph Hughes will leave the Dragons in November to take up a player coach role in Major League Rugby in America. So Hughes is going to link up with former Dragons defence coach Simon Cross, who is the head coach at Old Glory DC. So Steph said it wasn't the easiest decision because I've enjoyed my time here and being part of the club. We've had an opportunity overseas, and for my partner, myself, and our little boy, it's the chance to experience something different and to continue playing and do a little bit of coaching too. Gav, it's sad to see Steph go. He's been a fantastic pickup for us, but it's a great opportunity for him. And this, in some ways, I think this is a move that works well for both parties, isn't it?
Yeah, so you clearly wouldn't have seen the interview with him at half time during the game today because you were in the Bisley stand.
That's correct.
And they were talking to him about it. And he said, well, look, it's just an opportunity. And he said, there's lots of reasons to stay here, but this is something new to do. He did sound a little upset, though, that, kind of he's going to DC and not Miami like Rob Evans had. But
I don't think it's a bad gig, though, is it, to go to Washington? It's not bad.
No, it's lovely, Virginia. It's beautiful state, but just on the doorstep there. But no, I think it's a good step for him in there, and he'll stand out there. If Dougie Fife can look top class in a league, Steph Hughes will look excellent. I didn't realize how old he was though. He's not that old, but
he's 30, isn't he? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And it just feels quite young to be going to be a player coach.
He'll be brilliant in the MLR. And what I've always liked and admired about Steph Hughes, he's got a really good rugby brain.
Yeah.
He's a leader. He's a very solid club pro, week in, week out, consistent player, and he'll be great in America. He'll learn loads out there. They'll learn off him. Best of luck to him. And look, let's be honest, I don't think he would have got that much game time this season because of Nyron Owen and Harry Wilson, Joe Westwood, Harry Ackerman. He probably would have left at the end of the season anyway. So let him pursue this opportunity because it's a really good one for him and his family. And I'm glad the club have facilitated that, to be honest.
He's the last cab off the rank in terms of the centres we've got now, isn't he? So it makes sense that he would go and do something else, and it's a big opportunity. And you're right, there'll be boys playing rugby with him throughout the US college system who will benefit so much from his experience of playing in, a very different rugby culture.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you could, we picked him up on a short-term deal. We had an injury crisis in the centre, and he ended up captaining the club, being one of our best players, and he's brought on the likes of an Iron Owen, Joe Westwood, isn't he, and Harry Ackerman. So good on him. I hope he does well. It's sad in some ways, but I think it's a brilliant opportunity for him and his family, and I think it's the right decision for the club to let him go now and then pursue that dream. So
I'm
all
not
the
shifting my supporting away from Nola Gold in the MLR, though, even though he's there. But
see, I don't watch much American rugby. The stuff I have watched, I haven't been impressed with the standard of it, if I'm being brutally honest.
The standard's low.
But there are a few Dragons players now playing in the MLR. You got Ben Fry, you got Hugh Taylor, you got Rob Evans. I think Carl Mayer is also. Remember him? He used to play for Ampthill, South Africa. I think he's playing in America as well. I think there's quite a few. If I did a bit of digging, I'd probably.
Rob Evans and Hugh Taylor are both from Miami.
Did I say Ben Fry as well?
Yeah.
Ben Fry, he's out there. So like I said, good luck to him. Fantastic opportunity.
I'd like to say the standard's not massively high, but I watched the NOLA games on the MLR app, and they play in a.
Why did you choose NOLA then? What's the
because I trained with a team in Tennessee who were affiliated to them.
Okay.
They're one of their affiliated clubs. So that's purely why. I trained with Chattanooga in Tennessee just like one night when I was out there on holiday.
Okay, fair enough.
And then when I saw Chattanooga were kind of affiliated with them, well, that made sense.
In other news then, Dragons assigned Ospreys prop Cameron Jones on loan after we suffered an injury crisis of loose head. So Martinez was our only fit loose head. But credit to the Ospreys. Thank you to Toby Booth for lending us one of their props desperately needed. Jones came on the field today after 56 minutes against the Lions. I thought he did all right. And I'll tell you something, mind. I haven't seen him close up. He's a big guy, Gav. He's pretty big.
That first scrummage, he learned a lesson. Where he literally got folded into by his opposite number. But
there was a couple of calls that went against it, which I thought was unlucky, actually, because he was complaining that the tight there was pulling him down, because he was signalling to the officials, going, he's pulling me down, and you could see it.
That's what he did. What he did, he shifted his bind, but not enough to be illegal. But and I was really quite skillful from the tight head, because he's just shifted his bind enough and just brought his elbow in, at which point he just folded right in on himself. He didn't stand a chance, like. But I understand what he was saying, but it was on the wider end of legal, but it was legal.
But he looks a tidy player. He's very highly thought of at the Ospreys. I know that Toby Booth is. He signed a new deal, I think, back in May, so there's no chance of Dragons signing him long.
He's playing for Swans. He's playing for Swansea predominantly.
But he has played for the Cheetahs Ospreys in South Africa as well. Yes. He went on loan to the Cheetahs, so he has got experience against scrummaging against South African packs.
I don't think he looked bad, but that first scrum, I was a bit like, oh, well, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, he is a young prop. We have to bear that in mind. I'm just thankful the Ospreys lent us a prop, to be honest, because we were in dire straits there. That's that news then, Cam Jones. Okay, Gav, time for your Gwent Rugby Roundup. What's the latest?
Right, so a fairly full round of fixtures from the weekend. So if we start in Super Rugby Cymru, Newport lost 28-30 points at home to Llandovery. Pontypool went away to Carmarthen Quins and lost 41-31. But Ebervale won 31-16 at home to RGC. So currently, Cardiff are top. Ebervale are second. Same record, played 5 with 4 wins. Newport are in third, and Pontypool are in 6th.
There's some strange results in the Super Rugby Cymru, isn't there? Do you find that? There's some of these results.
Llandovery have lost a couple of players, so they're weaker than they were. And Cardiff have strengthened considerably.
Okay.
But they are, Cardiff are a lot stronger than they were last year. there's a lot more Blues players playing. Now, I
But
think we are officially referring to them as the Blues, seeing as how much fuss they were about teams wearing blue this season.
I was going to say our friend to the pod, Hugo Staffs and Swansea, are struggling, aren't they?
They have
Unfortunately.
lost every game so far, yeah.
Oh, it's a shame because we like you. He was a lovely bloke on the pod, wasn't he? You
Yeah,
know,
he
I want
he
Swansea
was
to do
great.
well.
So do
Yeah.
I, and I always liked Swansea as a club as a kid.
Yeah.
But I love the Moriarty brothers. I love a shithouse. But they really are struggling. Swansea are not laying a glove on other clubs, really.
Oh, it's a shame. Shame for
Going
you.
going into the Prem, Gwent Derby, Newbridge 17, Cross Keys 21. Paul one was being very pleased about that local derby.
That would have been a good one. That'd been a good game to go to.
Oh yeah, and that really is a local derby.
Proper Gwent derby,
The cheek and gel. Into the championship, Talawine went away to Cambrian Welfare and lost 23-18. Bryn Mawr's very difficult start to the championship continues with a 55-11 away defeat to Glamorgan Wanderers. Penalsa beat St. Peter's 38-5 at home, and NSD's also difficult start to championship continues with a 78-5 home defeat against Bedwas.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think both Bryn Mawr and NSD are just finding that step up.
Yeah, too much,
Big.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Step,
very, very big, you know, because there's established clubs up there like Glamorgan Wanderers and Bedwas, and they've got resources that, you know, NSD
That's right.
and Bryn Mawr don't. And their former Ebbville second row Damien Hudd is coaching at Bryn Mawr, and he's a good player, but you know, he's having to play everywhere. He's having to play every week, Damien, and he's not a young man. He's considerably younger than me, but but yeah, into Division 1, Abergavenny beat Blaenavon 27-22 in Posh versus Valleys derby. Pontypool United went away to Dowlais and lost 28-20. Monmouth hosted Nelson but lost 15-18 at home. Newport High School Old Boys lost 19-12 at home to Bedlinog. And Abtlary Blaenau Gwent went away to St. Gennes and they won 27-12. Division 2, Blackwood beat Garndyfai 47-22. Cwmbran beat Caldicot 20-15. Pill Harriers beat Abercarn 18-15. Risca lost at home 18-23 to Blaenau. And in what sounds a cracking game, Ask beat Croeso-Ceiliog 32-31. Into Division 3, Nanty Glow 21, Killian 31. New Panteg 18, Fleur-de-Lis 20. Horrible day for Abertwysog as they lost 71-0 away to Newport Saracens.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be on the end of that. Oakdale 14, Chepstow 32, and Rumney 33, Machen 24. Into Division 4. And a bit of a worrying trend now, Jamie, because there's some postponements, and I'm assuming these weren't weather-related, but player availability. If there were other things, please let me know. But Betters and Pontefraith and Gwynafyd and Bedwellty were all postponed. Llanelwedd 21, Fordside 16. RTB Ebervale 38, Crumlin 31. Whitehead 19, Crickhowell 33. Then more cancellations in Division 5. Haverford versus Derry and Tredegar Ironsides versus Westmorn postponed. I know Westmorn have had a very difficult start of the season.
Yeah.
But Abersychan 15, Beaufort 22, Blackwood Stars 33, Hartridge High School Old Boys 20. And what I reckon was quite a forwards battle, Mago 3, Hollybush 5. And then into Division 6A, Brynifil 27, Old Hilarion 17, Cumcarn United 0, and our friends at New Tredegar 83.
Ooh.
So, as much as I understand why they've been dropped down, I do feel for the other clubs in that league.
Yeah.
Because they're all, you know, that's their second 70-point plus win in the league. You know, good luck to them, though, obviously.
Oh, yeah, fair play to them, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then into Division 6B, Sully Sports 5, St. Julian's High School Old Boys 57. But one result that isn't our region, but I wanted to bring it up anyway from Division 6B, Llanrumney 141, Whitchurch 0.
Oh my
No.
God, poor Whitchurch. Bloody hell.
Yes, I would. I've been on the end of nearly 100.
I was going to say, what's the
And
heaviest defeat then, Gav, you've been involved in the club game?
98-3.
That's painful.
I scored a drop goal. Yeah, it was a
Dear.
touring game and we were all a little worse for wear.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah, and I played 10, which probably
Oh,
tells you
God.
everything you need to know
It
about.
does. It does. It does, yeah.
So
Oh,
our
dear.
last bit of news.
Yeah.
Our friends at the Dragons All-Stars are returning to action after a long layoff since a victory over Llanelli Warriors in September. The All-Stars start their first home fixtures of the season at Eugene Cross Park in Abervale, the Cinna Glass Community Stadium, to give it its full title, which is their new home. And they have fixtures with Stafford on the 19th of October and Bolton on the 26th of October, both kicking off at 2:30. Everyone is more than welcome to come along. And this might be my opportunity finally to play at Abervale, because I've been invited if I want to play for the All-Stars.
Excellent.
This might
yeah.
be also,
Get your boots on, Gav.
yeah, my fancy new boots. Also, the supporters club are running a supporters bus to the Scarlets on New Year's Day. A return bus and match ticket from £20. Check out their website or the social media.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Is that it, Gav?
That's all from the Gwent Rugby Roundup.
Brilliant. Okay, before we move on, a word from our sponsors, Riverside Sports Bar, the place for sport and great food. So with multiple HD screens showing all the latest sports action, you'll never miss a match on TNT, Sky and Premier Sports. There's a wide range of delicious food and drinks to keep you going throughout the game, from juicy burgers and crispy wings to refreshing beers and spirits. There's something there for everyone. So they're located next to River on Clarence Place, and for more information, go to www.riversidesportsbarnewport.com. I always get stuck on that bit, Newport.com, but Riverside Bar, Newport.com.
They have a full menu there as well, and I love looking for that. Oh yeah, I'd eat that. I'd eat that. Oh, I'd eat that.
The burgers are great. The burgers are really, really good.
The dirty fries look excellent as well. I'll need to have some when I get there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's look ahead to round 5. Benetton on Saturday night. Rodney Parade, another home game. 7:35 kickoff. I hate these late kickoffs. I absolutely hate these late kickoffs on a Saturday night as well. The game is live on S4C and Premier Sports. Now, I don't want to be a negative Nelly here, Gav, but I am not feeling very hopeful about this one. Benetton beat Sharks this weekend, 38-10, yes. And they've got, well, they're pretty much fully loaded now. They got the Italian internationals back, so they're going to be coming to Rodney Parade fully loaded. Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm just not feeling it for this one. I think it's going to be very, very tough.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult in terms of, in terms of how do we compete against a side that already seems to have hit its straps and, full of international players.
Yes, it's going to be tough, isn't it? And it's like, how do we pick ourselves up now? Because we've had 2 really narrow home losses, haven't we? Games we could have and should have won. It's like, how do we pick it up now against what's going to be a very strong Benetton side? And we're going to be underdogs, of course we are. We are now for a majority of these games. But yeah, how do you see it going, Gav, this one? Because like I said, I'm not feeling very hopeful for this one at all. Because Benetton, they're not the mugs they used to be. You're basically playing a test team now, aren't you? If you're playing Benetton, you're playing the Italian test team smattered with overseas talent. They're a bloody good team. They are a top 8 team now, aren't they? They've considered themselves as top 8 team.
I would consider them a top 8 team. Yeah, how confident am I? Well, look, I'm not like we're going to win, because I think it'll be tough. But I've seen enough from the Sharks game. I've seen enough from the Lions game to suggest we're better than we were. And I think we can give Benetton a game. I don't think we'll beat them personally.
No, neither do I. There's a couple of things going into this one. So I think there needs to be a conversation about the goal kicking. Some points missed today. Now, I didn't count up how many, but it was 10
6.
missed against. So it was 6 missed today, was there? 10 missed against the Sharks. Lloyd Evans just doesn't strike me with confidence now every time he goes to take a kick at the post. Will Reed missed a kickable one. It's hurting us, Gav.
It was
It's really hurting us.
It was 5 points
Five,
for
was
miss. It was a
yeah.
conversion and a
And
penalty.
a penalty. Yeah, it was. So 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get those 5 points.
We'd have won.
Yeah. 10
Goals.
points last week. So it's a big concern. And I just wonder, I don't know about you, do we let Angus have a go at taking the goal kicks? The penalties and the conversions? Because he's pretty decent at it. He's got a hell of a boot on him. He was doing it for the Scarlets and he did it for us a few times since he's been here. So
he's the cleanest striker of a ball out of hand.
Yeah.
I think in our, in the side.
And then the decision making as well. I think there needs to be some work on, doesn't it, going into this one. But I think we'll be competitive. I think that's all we can ask for is this team to, give their all and be competitive. But I'm not feeling very optimistic for a win here because Benton are a bloody good side. And how many more injuries you're going to pick up? Jared Ross pulled out today. He had a twinge apparently. So we'll just have to wait and see if there's any more players on the injury list. But it's just really frustrating to be picking up these constant injuries all the time, isn't it? And it can't be just bad luck. As we said today when he was on the pod, it can't be just bad luck that every year we're being crippled by injuries, can it? There's something going on.
Do we know when, some of the, Dimitri Hip or Steve Cummins or Solomon or Funaki are coming back?
So Funaki should be November. That's what they've said. So he's going to miss this first block now. So he won't be available next week or against Connacht. Steve Cummins, well, I've said this every week for the past 3 weeks about Steve Cummins being back for the next game. But every time I say it, he's not available. He should be back for Benetton. But don't quote me on that because he may not be ready. But Di said he's very, very close because he broke his hand against Hartbury, so we should be fine.
Yeah, I think both Screech and Ben Carter have played really well.
Oh, they have.
Matthew Screech he's been the best I've seen him ever, I think.
Do you think he should be called up for the Wales squad?
No.
Do you think he should? You don't think he should?
There's players on the rank in front of him.
But Dav Jenkins isn't going to be available, mind, from Exeter. There could be an opening for him, but
who else you got there? You've got Shunza, you've got Beard,
Carter,
Fender at Ospreys.
I think he's playing well, Matthew Screech.
I'm not convinced by, but I know Ospreys fans think he's like all Ospreys players, he's the greatest player ever to play. But he's fine.
I like him. I like him a lot.
I like Screech. No, I like Screech. It's James Fender I'm less convinced by.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of injuries, I tell you what, though, we're really missing our Wainwright, and we could really do with our Wainwright back because he just adds that little bit of stardust, that little bit of quality. I think when we get him back and Funaki, maybe, just maybe, we can turn these narrow defeats into wins. But yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. What's your prediction then, Gav? What are you going for this one?
I think we will lose by 4.
Okay, I'm going Benetton by 10, I am, which is a tough one, I know, because we won't get a bonus point of any kind. But I'm going to have to go for Benetton by 10 because I just think there's so much quality there. They're a really good team, packed with internationals. I don't know what the team is going to look like next week, how many more injuries. And I think these 2 home defeats have been really hard to take because they're games we could have, should have won. We are capable of being Benetton, but I don't see it. I just think Benetton will have a bit too much for us. So I'm sorry to end on a negative note, to be negative Nelly, but I got to be honest. And I've always honest, as you know.
I've got a positive, though.
Oh, have you? Go on then.
Well, I think we performed as well as any of the other Welsh regions. I don't see any real difference. I was very unimpressed with Ospreys the other night.
To be fair, though, Gav, that Bulls team is incredible, mate. They are packed with Springbok players. I don't think any other teams would have gone near them.
They had 11 players on the field at the end, Jamie, and they were keeping the ball away from Ospreys.
Yes, they had some discipline issue. Well, they got complacent in the second half, and that's the only reason why Ospreys came into it. They got very complacent, the Bulls, and that's why I remember. But that Bulls team, mind, I don't think Scarlets will get anywhere near them next week.
Oh no, I'm not. This isn't me Ospreys bashing, but they didn't look very good.
They got problems with the attack. I don't think the attack is very good. I think
were
if you
running
take
at
away
11 guys and 11 guys were shutting them down.
Yeah, I think if you take away their greatest strength, which is their forwards, they offer very little in the backs.
Yeah.
That's the issue, Ospreys. James will know that as well. James on the Rat Pod will, I'm sure he'll agree with me. Cardiff, they can't score against 13 men, and they haven't beaten a good team yet. And when they did play a good team, they got battered at home, and they couldn't score against 13 men. So
they were
I
solid
don't think
for a half against Zebra.
Yeah, there's work to do there for Cardiff. Sheedy's not impressing me either, to be quite honest. All this talk about him coming home and getting in the Welsh squad, not seeing it. Sorry, I think to be as a better fly-off. Scarlets, they got issues like us, but to be fair, that was a gutsy win when they were down to 13 men. They managed that period very well, whereas Cardiff just looked limited and out of ideas, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've all got problems, haven't we? Let's be honest. None of our sides at this moment of time are good, but isn't that what we expected? With the budgets coming down and the way Welsh rugby is, none of us are really standing out, are we? None of us head and shoulders. I mean, we're Cardiff now, 6th in the table, I think. But that's not going to last long anyway, is it? Let's be honest.
They've only won one game.
Those two they've won, haven't they?
They've won two.
They beat Zebra and Scarlets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've won 2 games. We've won 1. Ospreys have won 2, have they?
I'm just going to double check the table now, actually. So, Ospreys have won 1 game, so they're on 6 points. They're in 13th. Dragons are 11th at the moment on 7 points. Benetton are below us, also on 7 points. And then you're Cardiff at 6 on 12. Scarlets are in 10th on 7. So it's very, even at the minute. I don't think, I think we all knew Welsh rugby was going to be a struggle this season and for the coming seasons. But we've got to start turning these narrow defeats into wins, because that's the only way we're going to improve, and that's what people still judge us on, Gav, is results, isn't it? And we've got to start doing it now. Like
Paul Turner said at the start of the pod, it's a game that you go into to win.
Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed. Let's see what happens next week. But I'm not hopeful, I have to say. But it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? It's the hope that kills you. It kills us all eventually. Okay.
Die of something, it might as well be hope. Better than a piano landing on you or something.
Oh, God, yeah. It's a thought, isn't it? Right, I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been a busy pod. Thanks again to Paul Turner for joining us.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Thank you to our listeners as well for sending their questions. Gavin, thank you, as always. We'll be back next week. But until then, take care and goodbye.
That was the Dragons Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.